Thanks for tuning in to the This Week Show. I'm your host, Lynelle Ellis, and I'm very glad that you're watching. We are going to be having some internal conversations today on the show. I'm going to be talking with Lowell Mann, our content delivery manager, and Zach Swena, our new chief engineer for Blue Mountain Broadcasting, and they have an urgent need to tell you about. And so it's going to be very important for you to see this segment of the show today as we talk with you about something that is really an emergency situation where we need your help. And then we have some exciting things to share about programming in our station news segment that you definitely will not want to miss. And we will begin now with our devotional thought. It is the Advent season, and as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, during this season, I'm sharing some devotionals from the crosswalk.com website, where they spend this season sharing a lot of interesting devotionals related to the season of Advent. And this particular one that I'm going to share with you today was written by Chuck Swindoll. You remember him. Well, he was very famous on the radio for many, many years. And this one's called Hail the Incarnate Deity. On that still winter's night, something was up, something extraordinary, something supernatural. The shepherds raced to the city of David and found their Savior, just as the angel had said, swaddled and lying in a feeding trough. This was the promised one, the Messiah. God had finally come to dwell with his people, but in such an unexpected way. Just who was this holy child the shepherds gazed upon? Make no mistake, he was incarnate deity. The newborn Jesus existed in eternity past as God the Son. He was co-equal, co-eternal, and co-existent with God the Father and God the Holy Spirit. However, Jesus relinquished the privileges and the pleasures of his existence in heaven when he took upon himself the limitations of humanity. In emptying himself, Jesus voluntarily set aside the prerogatives and prerequisites of life as he had known it, an existence he had enjoyed. He released his right to that kind of life, saying to the Father, I will go. Go where? To Bethlehem. He took the form of a bondservant and was made in the likeness of men. Allow yourself to picture what the shepherds saw. There he is, the baby. Do you see his 10 fingers and 10 toes? His button nose? Can you hear the cries? There's humanity. In this holy infant is the beginning of an earthly life. Look deep into his eyes and see the beginning of life itself. Later, this divine man, completely unique in his nature and in the perfect life that he lived, humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Isn't that amazing? Of all ways to die, he died on a cross, the most humiliating and painful kind of death. God the Son lowered himself. He took on the flesh of an infant. He died a humiliating death. As a result, God the Father highly exalted him. One day, all will bow in worship to the risen Lord, to the glory of God the Father. It's all about his glory. What a plan. What an execution. What a perfect, awesome wrapping. The God-man Jesus is undiminished deity and true humanity, two distinct natures in one person forever. That's the baby in the manger. And then in Chuck's devotional, he shares two texts that really relate to the thoughts that he's had here, and I'd like to share those with you as well. The first is from Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. And we know the word Emmanuel means God with us. And then a verse from Philippians 2, 5 through 11. let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who, being in the form of God, did not consider it robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a bondservant and coming in the likeness of men. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even death on the cross. Therefore, God has also highly exalted him and given him the name that is above every name, that in the name of Jesus every knee should bow, of those in heaven and of those on earth and of those under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. The baby in the manger is undiminished deity and true humanity, two distinct natures in one person, forever. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now are Lowell Mann and Zach Swena. And Lowell is our content delivery manager, as you know, and Zach has a brand new title here at Blue Mountain Broadcasting. He is now our chief engineer. And Zach, I was kind of welcoming you to that official title. I know you've been interviewed on the show once before. You've been doing some contract work with our organization, which we've been very grateful for. But this brings you into an official role here at our organization. So welcome.
Thank you.
And we, now that you're here, it's going to provide the opportunity for Lowell to spend a little more of his energy and some of our volunteers to share in the tasks, but to spend his energy a little bit more in content, programming, that sort of thing, which is what viewers actually end up seeing and appreciating, and leaving more of the worries and concerns about the technical aspects to you. So we're very excited about this. Every television station, every broadcast entity, or an entity that's going to be using streaming and apps and that sort of thing needs to have that chief engineer person on board. And we've really been out without someone in that role for quite a while at our organization. And we've had volunteers who've sort of picked up and filled in those gaps quite well and as best they could, but not at the level that someone who really comes on to do the job can do. So we're really glad you're here. Now, something we weren't expecting as we hire, we're right, just finishing this process of hiring you right now. We weren't expecting kind of an emergent challenge to come. Tell us about what has happened recently.
So, as an engineer, as a broadcast engineer, generally speaking, because I'm working on electronics, I don't tend to work in the rain. And because inside either trucks or tents or buildings, and we have water leaking through the roof in the equipment room at Sunbridge. It's been quite scary at times because there's one point where, and unfortunately we didn't get footage of it, but it was dripping in one place, and then I would go out and tell Lowell and others that we had a problem. I went to take him back there, and we found another place that was dripping. Mm-hmm. And then it seemed like that morning, every time I went in the equipment room, there was another place that was dripping.
It's
and
really
it was just pooling above the sheetrock.
You can see the bubble. Yeah.
Some places the paint's bubbled, some places others, but on either side, there's just, it's
Water.
A problem.
Water and equipment do not go together. That's why you're saying you don't work in the rain as an engineer. And I want to make really clear to our viewers as well, you said at the Sunbridge facility.
Yes.
This is the facility we are in the process of moving out of.
Yes.
This is not the building we purchased. This is not our Wallula facility, which is newer and what people are hearing a lot about now, where we've already moved some of our staff to the Wallula facility, but we haven't moved the equipment over or the actual broadcast hub over to Wallula yet because it takes some additional funds to do that. And we thought we had time to raise those funds in sort of a standard fundraising way and get moved over there, but now we find ourselves in a really, really urgent situation where we don't own the Sunbridge building. we're not responsible for fixing the roof. We have talked with the people there about that, and they're aware and they know, but this is not something that's being fixed immediately.
Well, the scale of the fix that's required
It's huge.
is something that you don't necessarily do in the middle of winter either.
Correct. In fact, I don't even think it's possible in winter.
Yeah.
So that, it's just created a really, really challenging, urgent situation for us. And so we wanted to talk today on the show with our viewers about this urgent situation. And we know that this is the kind of situation where we need lots of people coming together to help. We need financial gifts to help us move over. And it's not free to get everything over there. And we need to talk a little bit about why that isn't free. And maybe you can give a little bit of an overview, Lowell, and then we'll get some more details from Zach. But why is it not free to get it from one place to another?
Because we've got to upgrade a little bit. Some of this equipment is not going to be in its final state when we get it over to Sunbridge. And
You mean to Alula?
to Alula, thank you. And we've got to replicate a lot of our systems to do that. You don't just move stuff. You got to make sure everything's safe as you're doing that move. Plus, we've got microwave links that we need to get licensed. So there's
one thing that we're not just wanting, we are needing and wanting to not be off the air for any length of time.
Yeah.
And that's not just because we want our viewers to always have the programming, which of course is our top priority. We don't want them to be without Blue Mountain Television, but it's also an FCC or Federal Communications requirement. You would have to go through a process to be able to be off for some amount of time before you're back on with broadcasting.
Yeah, and I think if we look at the current situation, if we tried to move everything and we just went off the air, it would probably be weeks or months, and that is not something that we're willing to live with.
No. And so, Zach, talk to us a little bit more about why we can't just immediately grab that equipment and get it out of that wet room.
So we need to be able to keep everything operating efficiently and safe. We don't want to lose the programs you watch and love is data on the machines.
Yes.
And if we lose that data, then we either have to recreate it. Some of it can't be recreated.
Yeah, we can't lose our content, our programming.
And as is, we don't have enough of that reliability in the current system to be able to take the risk of just powering a server down and moving it, hard drives and all, if that's the only thing it has.
So we really want to have these replications of equipment so that we don't have to be off the air, so that we don't have to lose our content, that it's always going to be there for us reliably.
Yeah, and what gets replicated in the move is not just to help with the process of moving. After the move, that equipment will allow me to work on improving things and fixing things without causing problems where you lose audio or you lose where the picture goes out for a period of time and then comes back, or other things like that.
Because we really shouldn't be testing things that need to be improved or changed live on air while people are trying to watch.
Correct.
Yes.
And we don't necessarily have a complete enough system to be able to do that at the moment.
Okay, so that's all part of this transition of getting over, being able to have more efficient internal processes, being able to have fewer disruptions in the future, more reliability with our broadcast. All right, so these are funds. We're talking about funds now that have not been at the top of our minds. As we've been thinking about the plan, but we didn't have it in this same kind of urgent manner that we do now. And
Lynelle, I think we have some footage, a video that shows our viewers what exactly is happening in that.
Yes, I was going to look at that earlier in this interview. Let's do it. Let's do it now. I forgot to ask for it earlier. So, I'm here right by our equipment room at the Sunbridge facility to show you what the issue is, what the problem is we're dealing with water and leakage in our equipment room. This building has a flat roof, and that's creating during this poor weather some real problems. We rent here, we don't own this facility. Of course, we own the Wallula facility we're trying to move to. And I want to show you the damage that we have in here and the danger to our equipment, which is why we have put out this urgent request for some additional funds to help us move this equipment out of here quickly to the other facility. It's very urgent, it's an emergency situation, and we're looking for $213,000 in order to be able to move to Wallula and get the equipment out of here. It's noisy in here, so I probably won't say too much, but come on in and let's see what's going on. Got a hole here, and the water is dripping down in through, as you can see, into this bucket we have here, the towels we have, the flooring is stained, and our equipment is just right here. Then also in this area here we have lots of damage to the ceiling where the water has been coming through, and also on the wall and on down to the floor area. The water is, I am talking in here, even though I said I wasn't going to. The water is dripping right here where these cables are, right next to and on the edge of these cables as they come down, and very close to our equipment racks. You see we have 4 equipment racks and even some additional equipment over on the wall there in this room. This is the heart of Blue Mountain Television and our broadcast. If any of this very expensive equipment is damaged by this water, then our expenses just go up and up. So the 213 helps us to move it and make the modifications we need to for the move and get it out of here without having to spend extra to replace things that are water damaged. Yeah, it's really good for us to look at that visual, see the images of what that equipment room looks like, because as I was over there the other day, about a week ago, walking through there and looking at it, it's pretty dramatic. Water on the floor, water on the ceilings, water dripping right by the equipment, right where the equipment cables run. Mm-hmm. It's just scary. And
it is, and we can talk about it all day long, but actually seeing it kind of adds a little bit to it. Now we have gone in and we put plastic over all of the racks just to protect the equipment.
Yes.
In the meantime.
Yes, I'm really glad you did that, because it's just an emergency situation. It's urgent. And I know Zach said to me before, you didn't even see the bad part.
Yeah, the by the time we got the cameras in there, it had tamed down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't actively raining at that moment.
Yeah, there was one point where every time I went in, it seemed like it was dripping in some other place.
And that will happen again when we have a snow and a melt.
All it takes is for the drains on the roof to get clogged, and you have a swimming pool up there.
It's a flat roof. Mm-hmm.
And then there's enough leaks in there that you get water pooling on top of the sheetrock. And just a little bit of paper and plaster is all that's keeping things dry.
And right now, we are grateful that we have our own facility at Wallula that we are in the process of moving to. Because this is at the Sunbridge facility, I clarify again for our viewers, and it's not our property, and we are trying to get out of there quickly. And this whole project that we're working on to raise the funds to get the equipment out is just part of that, and it's just become much more urgent than it was before. And what we're really asking for is for our viewers to just say, I regularly support, or maybe I don't usually support, but I see that right now we've got to get this equipment moved. We've got to get it over to the Wallula facility. And so we're asking for some special gifts, some special donations. What kind of gifts should people be giving, Lowell?
Whatever they can do, every little bit helps. So the big donations, the small donations, and if viewers want to mark Save Our Servers, SOS, we'll know that it goes specifically to that project.
That's great, because we all know what SOS means.
Yeah.
You know, it means there's an emergency, emergency situation, and we really need to do something. So yes, SOS, save our servers, and mark it that way. Send the gift in specifically for this, and we will definitely use it specifically to get this equipment.
You know, and as funds come in, we can start the process of moving some stuff over.
Yes, and that will really be good, because the more quickly we can get things to safety, to a dry place at our facility at Wallula, the better. And you know, we should point out that this is the kind of thing where lots of people working together, you know the old adage, many hands make light work. Well, that's what this is.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
giving gifts that are we need the large ones, we need the small ones, we need all of them in order to be able to move it over. So it's kind of like that bucket brigade, everybody sharing the work, sharing the duty of helping to make it happen, and it is pretty urgent. I probably just understated that. It's really urgent that we receive those funds soon. So once again, thanks to you guys for chatting with me about this, and as we try to explain, you know, to our very faithful viewers what we're facing and what we need. And Zach, welcome to Blue Mountain Broadcasting and our new troubles. And we're glad to have you on board, and what you're going to help us do with this whole process of moving to Wallula, and just through our whole process of maintaining a really great broadcast and streaming facility. And thanks, Lowell, too, because you will continue to dig up fascinating programs and help manage and run everything that goes on with the facility.
Just a little teaser, we've got some new programming coming next year, so stay
Yes,
tuned.
I have a few hints about that too. It's going to be great. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you. All right, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with Station News. It's time now for Station News. And of course, the biggest news is what we've just been talking about for the past several minutes about our urgent need to get this equipment out of the water. In addition to that, though, some things that you're really interested in related to Blue Mountain Television, and that is what shows are going to be on, what can we watch, what's coming that's interesting. Well, of course, Christmas programs are coming, and it's that time of year. We have a lot of wonderful Christmas programs for you. You can find them on our website, but I also will share right now with you some details about that. We have A World of Christmas, which is the Village Church, brand new Village Church Christmas program for 2022. You can see that on December 16 at 7 p.m., December 24 at 3 p.m., and December 25, Christmas Day, at noon. And then we also have Gifts for a King. This was the beautiful program put on by Walla Walla University. It's their annual tradition, their annual gift to the community. And you can see that on Blue Mountain Television, which is our gift to the community, on December 18 at 7 a.m., December 23 at 7 p.m., and then Christmas Day at 5 p.m. And one more, this is a new one for us this year. Coming to the State Line Church will be the Castle Valley Academy and their program called Oh Holy Night. And you can see this one on Blue Mountain Television on December 23 at noon, on December 24, Christmas Eve at 10 p.m., and on Christmas Day at 9 a.m. So those are some of the most special Christmas programs that we're bringing to you. Of course, you can always check our schedule for all of the other programs that will be special and new and interesting during this season. Now here's one that is not going to be broadcast, but is available through Blue Mountain Broadcasting, and it's something that I know many of you have been waiting for, and that is the presentations with D. Casper that he gave during the Blue Mountain Television Weekend in November. Those are now available at our website. So just pop right on over to our website and look on our on-demand programs, and also in our latest videos section. You click on those, and it will open up, and you'll see those presentations from D. Casper right there. They're shot single camera, so they're not fancy production, but the wonderful content is absolutely there. And we are so happy to be able to share these programs with you. You can also find them at our YouTube channel. So if you just Google YouTube Blue Mountain Television, you will also find them there. All right, that was probably the most exciting thing I have to say right now with you, but there's a couple other things I should probably tell you during Station News too, and that is to once again remind you that we are raising funds for this urgent need that we have to get this equipment out of the water at Sunbridge and to our facility at Wallula, where its permanent home is going to be. So if you could send a special gift right now to help us with that project, Maybe you can send $100 to help us that with project. Some of you could send $1,000. Maybe you can send $10 to help us with that. We really, really need it. And I can't emphasize it more. Mark it, SOS, Save Our Servers. Servers is that computer equipment that holds everything that we need to have for the station. Save Our Servers, SOS. And also, you will probably want to remember the Valley Giving Guide, and that you can use that as a way to donate to Blue Mountain Television. It can be so helpful because not only will your gift come to us, but the matching money that the Valley Giving Guide can contribute in as well, about 20% probably, will also come our direction in the new year. So you can use the Valley Giving Guide as a way to donate to Blue Mountain Television. Be sure to do that. And a tiny update, we're just still finishing up that project with the air conditioning ducts at the Wallula facility that are going to be in the broadcast room and the equipment room. That will keep this equipment we're moving over nice and cool. And good news, at the facility where we are at Wallula, we don't have any leaks in the roof. It's a nice solid roof and no problems with water leakage there. So we've got special flooring in those rooms that we put in, and it's just going to be a great home for the equipment that makes this wonderful programming come to you every day that you can rely on. So thank you for those special gifts you're giving. Please pray for the rescue of our equipment and for these urgent needs that we have at the station. And if you have some prayer requests for us that you'd like us to pray over at our 9 a.m. Wednesday prayer time, please send those in to us at Blue Mountain Television as well so that we can pray for your needs too. And thank you again for watching this time. I appreciate you giving of your time to find out these updates about what's going on here at our local ministry. I'll see you next time.